Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is your period comfort one shot for today. Now, I do have some good news. This one is going to be a mini series. Okay, wow, calm down. Yes, I know that we were supposed to just have one shots, and yes, I can hear the Zero stands complaining, but Zero already has a mini series, a one shot, and was best wingman in the Denki book. So he has had a lot more spotlight than Shoji, who only has a 2-part one shot to his name. That's it. So it's time to show him a little bit more love. This one is a period comfort as well as saving from bullying comfort and just all round fluff and love and all things comfort. So I hope it hits a few spots for a few of you. I will shut up now and get on with this. It is Shoji Mezo X female listener, titled Day 2 Part 1. Enjoy. Your period had just started. Wow, what a way to open a story, right? But it was true for you in this case. Day 1 of your period was always okay. At least you got a warning, but day 2 was when all hell broke loose. Unfortunately, this time you had major exams for school and couldn't call in sick for the day 2 of that wonderful time of the month, so you would just have to wade through it as best you could. Thankfully, though, you had a pretty handy quirk, a self-serving quirk where you almost had an epinephrine pain injector in your body, that if you had any pain, you could just activate your quirk and it was like your body would give you your own shot of morphine and the pain would dissipate for about 15 minutes. Not long, I know, but if you trained, you could probably get it to last longer. You weren't aware of that fact, though. You were attending just an ordinary school in your area, not a hero school, so you didn't know that you had more potential than just 15 minutes of time frame. And the other drawback for your quirk was, well, let's just get on with the story and we'll come back to that other thing that happened if you overused your quirk, yeah? Your best friend and neighbour, Shoji Mezo, went to a hero school, though. You loved that for him. He was totally the hero type, and you were so proud. You would tell everyone you could that your best friend went to UA. So, what have you got on today? You asked him as you walked beside him to school. Your school was only a little further on than his, so you would walk to school together and walk back home together as well. Something that you never missed, unless you or he were sick and stayed home, but aside from that, you were always together on your walks. I think we have a few hero training sessions today, Shoji said, speaking from his mouth that he had made on one of his limbs. Cool. I have exams, you grimaced, pausing for a second to activate your quirk and negate the searing pain in your uterus. Shoji watched you from the corner of his eye, and you quickly glanced at him when he didn't say anything for a second. What? You asked when he was just watching you and not replying. You used your quirk, he commented. What? No? You lied quickly. Why? How did you know? He looked forwards again and just stared ahead for a bit. What did you do this time? Is it your ankle? He asked. No, you replied defensively. You didn't try and jump from your roof to mine again, did you? He asked, still not looking at you. No, I told you I wouldn't do that again, you replied in a bit of an embarrassed mumble. You said you wouldn't, but sometimes you don't mean it, he said, looking back at you again. We still have about 2 kilometres to go to get to your school. I'll carry you there and into the school grounds, and then after school, you wait for me, and I'll come and pick you up, literally. I told you it's not my ankle, you huffed. I'm fine. I didn't even use my quirk. Did you eat 6 blocks of chocolate again? He asked again, looking back up and seeing stairs ahead that led to the bridge overpass that you always used. No, you replied. Well, you conceded. It wasn't 6 blocks, and I did use my quirk for that one because, ouch, my stomach didn't like 5 blocks of chocolate, but that was last night and I'm fine now. Shoji just silently reached over to you and picked you up with 2 arms on that side of his body and then lifted you up behind himself and placed you on his back while he took his backpack off and held it on his left side with his other 2 arms. Hey! You yelped when you were suddenly airlifted onto his back. Shoji! Put me down! No, he replied calmly as he started to walk up the stairs. You could feel the pain starting to creep back in and your body tensed, so you just used a small portion of your quirk and felt your body relax again. You used it again, Shoji suddenly said. What is it? Why are you in pain? You need to be more careful, Yin. Just because you can make your pain go away doesn't mean you can take risks and hurt yourself. You're being too careless, and it worries me. This statement from him made you swallow all of your arguments and low-key anger. He really cared about you, and your careless acts really did affect him. I'm sorry, Shoji, he said softly. I don't mean to worry you. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm okay. I just got to get through today, and then if I'm still not good by tomorrow, I'll take a sick day, I promise, you said. He sighed. Does your mum know you're in pain? He asked as he got to the top of the stairs and headed over the bridge. Yeah, she does. She understands. It's just that I have exams today, so I have to go to school, but I'll be okay, I promise, you said to him. He hummed in an unsure voice. He didn't like that you weren't telling him what was going on, but at the same time he respected your privacy, and so let it be. True to his word, he carried you all the way to your school, but then he wouldn't put you down at your school gate, and you struggled to get off him, but he held you fast. Shoji! You hissed with embarrassment. Let me down! I can walk from here! I'm fine! No. Which one is your locker? I'll put you down there, he said as he walked confidently into your school grounds. You immediately buried your face into his back and shrank down as best you could. This was not the entry to school that you had hoped for. As he walked into the locker room, you peeked over his shoulder and pointed to your left. I'm over there, locker 345, you mumbled, trying not to look at the students as they gawked at you. You quickly shot yourself up with more painkillers as he put you down, and you smiled at him. Okay, thanks, you can go now, you said with embarrassment. Are you sure you're okay now? He asked, watching you with his visible right eye. Yeah, fine, you said again, glancing past him to a group of girls who had stopped to give you and him a disdained stare. It's Freak and some huge dude, one of the girls said, which you heard and prayed that Shoji hadn't heard them, but he obviously had because he looked over his shoulder at them, and the one who spoke shut up immediately. Oh, we better get going before he does something to us, another girl whispered. He's huge, what a monster. A freak and a monster. It makes sense that they'd be hanging out, the third snickered, as she pushed the other two in front of her and they scurried off. Ignore them, you said as you turned back to your locker to get your stuff for first class. Do they bother you? Shoji asked you quietly. No, you lied, not looking at him in the eye. I'm no stranger to being called names like that, but it doesn't make it right, he said softly. I wish I could take you with me to UA. You wouldn't have to worry about anything there. Everyone in the class is nice. You shot yourself up with more of your painkiller quirk and looked up at him. Yeah, no, I'm fine, promise, you said as you turned to head to class. Have a good one at school and wait for me at the gates. Don't come in looking for me, I'll be fine, you called as you headed off, and he stood there watching you go. He knew that you weren't embarrassed about him being there. You were more embarrassed about being carried into the school like a baby. That had you wanting to cower and run away. He shook his head and then turned to leave. I'll get here early and come to her locker. She's obviously in pain, but is being as strong as she can be, he thought as he left the school grounds and slung his bag back onto his back and headed for UA. I hope those girls don't give her trouble. What kind of hero am I to leave her in that situation? I'll talk to her later about transferring. I think she could make a good hero. She has no fear at all. His mind then went back to that time that you had thought that it would be a great idea to make your own wings and try and fly. That had been the first time that he had seen the other side effect of your quirk, and it had been bad. Mwah! Now you have to wait for a whole week for the next part. Stay tuned. Next week will be part 2 of the Shoji mini-series. I'll see you all then.